Shyam Divan, whom you know is President of LAWASIA and also Bar Association Vice President.
Hi, good evening everybody. Delighted that, well, this went well. We were all a little nervous at the start as to how we're going to ensure that there is good attendance and that there is stimulating discussion. And I have to say that the contributions by each of the delegates and speakers has been outstanding. There's been a tremendous learning experience for me. AI, social media, human rights, inclusivity and inclusiveness in terms of the bar, and plenty of insights. And I think rather than sort of summarize what happened in each of those events or each of those sessions, I thought I'd share a learning which came my way from something which was outside these sessions. And it was during a bilateral meeting between the Bar Association of India and the Advocates Association of Mongolia. And the insight which I gained was that Mongolia, during its first visit to POLA, was debating as to how to structure its own bar association. And they took a suggestion from Prashant Kumar, who was present at that POLA meeting, and decided that they're going to have a bar which has no members of the judiciary and no members of government. And they reported back saying that that was an extremely wise decision which they took in terms of structure. And I can see that events like these will probably provide guidance to young jurisdictions. Bhutan, for example, is a case in point with regard to how to plan your bar associations moving forward. I wanted to just share 3 broad points which are of concern for the bar associations and for practitioners in the Asia Pacific. The first point that I wanted to share is that I think we live at a time when we have to look after each other. I think lawyers across jurisdictions and bar associations as well, are facing challenges. They're facing challenges from government. They're facing challenges from society in terms of community because of aspects like social media and messages going viral. So I think we need to really be alert and aware of what is happening to members and our colleagues in other jurisdictions. I think that's very important, not just to be aware about it, but also to stand up for each other, to communicate with each other, to bring this out into to the knowledge of members of our respective jurisdictions. And it's been my experience that lawyers who are facing stress and who are facing extreme conditions, including detention in other jurisdictions, really value the voice of lawyers from other jurisdictions who have the capacity and the ability to speak. So I urge each one of you to please consider this, to please take this home, and to please come back to us in terms of whether it is the POLA platform, whether it's the LAWASIA platform, to build something by which we have a stronger network. We have reports for the moment which have come in recently, and here I sort of wear my LAWASIA hat, but you know, there are presidents of associations of the Asia Pacific here. Complaints coming out from Fiji, complaints coming out of stress in Azerbaijan, problems which are occurring at home here in India, where we had the Enforcement Directorate a few months ago summoning very, very senior lawyers, including a vice president of the Bar, a former vice president of the Bar Association of India, Mr. Arvind Datar. I think we need to be really alert about this. And I recognize, for example, that there are statements which are coming out from many of your associations. I applaud you for that. And I really request a greater exchange of not just information, but probably ideas on how to set up a network to respond. In Bangladesh, for example, we're just not able to get authentic information out of Bangladesh. There are something like 40+ prosecutors who post last August have been, they reported to the police, they've all been arrested, and they are not getting bail, and we are finding it very difficult to get authentic information with regard to this, to members of the legal community. The second point which I thought I should just make, and this is a very emergent issue as well, that apart from looking after and looking out for lawyers in other jurisdictions, I think we have to look after lawyers within our own jurisdictions, and the space I identify here is the mental health space. We've just had a very successful webinar on the LAWASIA platform. It's recorded, it's available for everyone to see. But I urge you to look at this, because some of the issues which came up during the deliberations of the last couple of days were, mental health related. The stress in our profession is enormous. Young lawyers are finding it very problematic. And in this virtual space, young lawyers also have a need for mentors in person, which they find that in the new ecosystem, that, working from home, working virtually, that just might not happen. So let's look out for our own members within our jurisdictions, and in particularly this area of stress and mental health. My final point is forward-looking, and this has to do with a manual which LAWASIA is about to publish and release. It's on the international right to remedy. One of the principal authors of that manual is way back there, Aparna T.S., and I acknowledge her contribution. The idea is to provide this manual to lawyers and bar associations across the world, and of course in the Asia Pacific, because as I see it, the Asia Pacific and bar associations here are really going to have to provide leadership. Leadership in many parts during this precarious moment in time, leadership from conventional bar associations is perhaps faltering. Maybe it's faltering for a long period, maybe it's going to falter, maybe they'll pick up themselves. But I think there's an enormous opportunity for this region to be the flag bearer and to hold up the standard as far as rule of law, independence of judiciary, and global standards on the topics which we discussed, including inclusivity. And here we have, of course, this international right to remedy manual, because what we occasionally find is that domestic remedies are just not adequate, and we therefore thought we'd put together this manual to distribute, because there are regional options you can go for. There are fora which are international, which are regional, which may not be within your jurisdiction, but bar associations can probably petition those. The next part is, I suspect, a bit lighter, which probably Aparna can help me with. So my favorite cartoonist is Mario de Miranda, who was sort of based out of Mumbai and Goa. And if we could just run along, he was fabulous. So this was just something which we picked somewhere. And finally, a big thank you, and let's hope that we have a dry spell ahead of tonight's dinner at the Imperial, to which all of you are invited, and I look forward to meeting you there. Thank you very much.